Maybe you've noticed subtle changes, waking up tired, struggling to remember names, legs that no longer respond the way they used to, and you thought it was normal. But what if some of these signs are your body's way of asking for small changes that could transform your daily life? There's a quiet delicacy in aging that few people talk about. It's like walking through a silent field where the world's noise fades and the inner voice becomes louder. And in that silence, questions arise. Why do I feel more tired even after a full night's sleep? Why does my memory seem to slip through the cracks of routine? Medicine often brings us statistics, diagnoses, protocols. But what about what we feel? What about what doesn't show up in exams, but tightens the chest or chills the soul? Aging with autonomy shouldn't feel like a burden. It should be a sacred rite of reconnection. Yet no one prepares us for it. Most advice gets lost in generalizations, as if all bodies were the same, as if every life had the same rhythm. But the mature body has its own language. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you don't listen, it stiffens, it shuts down, it becomes ill. That's why, more than magical formulas, this video offers small keys. Simple habits, forgotten in the rush of modern life, but that carry ancestral wisdom. The kind that teaches us to care for the body the way one tends a garden, not with haste, but with presence. And the most beautiful part? None of these practices require great effort or drastic change. They only ask that you begin to listen to what your soul has been whispering for a long time. At this stage in life, every choice matters. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be hard. Small habits, often ignored by doctors, can reignite your energy, clear your mind, and restore your confidence to live with more presence. And what if what hurts the most right now is actually the seed of your healing? The Wake Up Ritual: how 3 minutes in the morning can reactivate your whole body. The first light of morning often holds a silence few people value. It's in this moment, between dreaming and waking, that the body reveals its secrets. After 60, getting out of bed is no longer just a simple action. It's as if every joint asks for care, every muscle tests the memory of movement. Yet, many still ignore this call and rise quickly, already thinking about coffee, chores, appointments. But the mature body, wise like an old oak tree, needs to be greeted gently before it rises. Time changes our tissues, alters rhythms, and refines the connection between brain and limbs. That's why, upon waking, there's a precious moment few people notice. The brief pause before we stand, when we can truly speak to the body. The stiffness in your legs, the sudden imbalance, the feeling of weakness when your feet touch the floor. None of these are signs of weakness. They're invitations to listen. The body doesn't age to punish. It ages to teach us presence. Maybe you've never tried this silent ritual. But tomorrow, before getting up, sit for a moment. Gently move your feet in circles. Stretch your arms slowly overhead. Breathe deeply 3 times, feeling the air reach every corner of your being. This is an intimate greeting, a daily reunion with who you are. This simple gesture sends a powerful message. I'm here. I'm listening. And in doing so, you not only awaken muscles, but also honor the life pulsing inside you. The body hears everything your soul whispers, and this act of listening might be the first step to walking a new path. The wrong water at the wrong time can do more harm than good. Most of us grew up hearing that drinking water is good. And it is. Water is the essence of life, silently, present in every cell. But there's a detail that rarely gets mentioned. It's not just the amount that matters, but the timing, the temperature, and the way the body receives it. At 60, 70, or 80, the body no longer reacts the same to familiar habits. Sensitivity increases, and what once seemed harmless can become an invisible trigger for discomforts we can't explain. Sometimes, symptoms like indigestion, unstable blood pressure, or fragmented sleep aren't caused by illness, but by automatic habits we overlook. For example, waking up and drinking cold water might seem refreshing, but for those with digestive or circulatory concerns, it can be a thermal shock that disrupts the system. The mature body responds better to gentleness than to impact. There's forgotten wisdom in drinking warm water in slow sips, especially before meals. This subtle act prepares the digestive system, helps absorb nutrients, and lets the body recognize the moment of receiving. It's not about fearing cold water, but understanding that the body now moves at a different pace. The pace of subtlety, of pause, of deep listening. When you realize that even the way you hydrate can be a conscious act of care, everything shifts. Digestion improves, the mind slows down, and sleep finds more peace. Because ultimately, it's not just about drinking water. It's about reconnecting with your biology and your inner gentleness, and remembering that even invisible choices echo in the body. Every healing begins with accepting what hurts, and sometimes that acceptance begins with a single sip. The forgotten practice that improves digestion without changing what you eat. In a world obsessed with diets, restrictions, and superfoods, one essential detail is often ignored: how we eat. After 60, the body experiences time differently. Metabolism slows down, internal signals become more subtle, and digestion demands more listening than effort. And it's often during this stage that many experience post-meal discomforts, bloating, heartburn, poor digestion, without realizing that the problem might not be the food itself, but the haste with which it was consumed. Chewing slowly isn't just grandma's advice. It's a therapeutic gesture. When you slow down the act of eating, you give your body a chance to recognize the food, to prepare digestive enzymes, and to establish a more harmonious dialogue between brain and stomach. This conversation is essential, especially as intestinal sensitivity increases with age. Eating too fast breaks this bond, overwhelms the system, and turns nourishment into a trigger for discomfort. There's a hidden beauty in the simple act of resting your utensils between bites. That small gesture creates natural pauses, invites breath and presence. It allows the body to signal fullness before excess arrives. It's not about control. It's about compassion for your own pace. After all, the most powerful nourishment isn't just what's on the plate, it's what's received with mindful attention. Relearning how to eat is like relearning how to speak with your own body. And over time, you'll notice that this new rhythm not only improves digestion but brings lightness back to your meals. Because when there is presence, there is healing. And when there is listening, the body responds with gratitude. You're not broken. You're transforming. And even the act of eating can become a path of reconnection and care. The invisible antidote to cognitive decline, real conversations. There's a kind of loneliness that doesn't scream. It settles quietly, between the lines of your days. In the mornings when no one calls. In the afternoons when silence weighs heavier than time itself. And even if it's never named, that loneliness affects the body. It alters hormones, lowers immunity, weakens memory. Few people realize it, but the aging brain needs more than supplements and crossword puzzles. It needs connection. It needs to be heard by another brain, reflected in another gaze. Talking isn't just about exchanging words. It's a biological, emotional, and spiritual act. When there is affection in listening, the body releases substances that calm, protect, and regenerate. A short phone call, an unexpected visit, an unhurried conversation. All of these are invisible food for the mind. In an age where we talk so much about neurodegenerative diseases, we say far too little about the power of genuine relationships as prevention. Even the simplest conversation, when it's real, activates dormant neural networks, strengthens empathy, and warms the soul. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be a weekly coffee with a dear friend, a book club, a tea circle with neighbors. What matters isn't the topic, it's the bond. Science confirms what the soul has always known. The mind that connects preserves itself. And when we feel like we belong, the aging self rediscovers a sense of purpose, of belonging, of self-worth. You are not alone. The universe hears you. And maybe the healing you've been looking for isn't in a pharmacy, but in the next heart-to-heart conversation. Because every true bond is a reminder we are still needed, still loved, still part of something, and that alone is healing, the nighttime habit that reprograms your body while you sleep. The end of the day carries ancient wisdom. It's when the light softens, the sounds grow quieter, and the body naturally begins to withdraw. But lately, that retreat has been invaded by glowing screens, nonstop notifications, racing thoughts, and so, sleep, which should be a refuge, has become a battlefield. Poor sleep has become common, but it should never be normal, because the mature body needs, more than ever, nights that heal. During deep sleep, the brain reorganizes memories, clears out toxins, strengthens neural connections. The heart slows down, hormones adjust, and the immune system renews itself. It's a sacred moment of regeneration that requires preparation. But when the mind goes to bed still alert, in a state of tension, the body doesn't understand that it's time to rest. It keeps producing adrenaline, keeping the senses on high alert, confusing night with danger. Creating a nighttime ritual is like teaching the body that it is safe. A warm cup of tea, soft music, mindful breathing. All of it signals you can rest now. And when you repeat this care every night, the body learns there is a right time to surrender. Science shows that a consistent evening routine improves not only sleep, but also mood, memory, and vitality the next day. The body hears everything your soul whispers, and at night, more than ever, it needs to hear, you are at peace. It's not just about sleeping, it's about allowing rest to be deep, restorative, healing. Because even as you sleep, the body continues to listen. And when harmony exists in that moment, waking becomes lighter, as if life, little by little, begins to realign itself from the inside out. Exercise isn't the gym, it's movement with intention. There's a common misconception many people carry, that if they don't go to the gym, they're not taking care of their body. But after 60, the body begins asking for a different kind of relationship with movement. One that is more loving, more respectful, more attuned to what's happening inside. It's no longer about performance, goals, or extreme endurance. It's about presence, about giving your body back the right to move with joy and meaning. Aging brings natural changes in muscle mass, flexibility, and balance. And all of this can create insecurity when thinking about physical activity. But movement doesn't have to mean sacrifice. It can be dancing, walking barefoot in the yard, stepping up a stair with intention and awareness. What brings vitality is not how much you do, but how you do it. The difference between exhaustion and energy lies in the quality of attention you give to your own movement. Many times, a body in pain isn't sick. it's just been still for too long. It's waiting for an invitation to begin again. And that invitation can be simple. It might be moving your arms to the rhythm of a favorite song, rising from a chair with care and steadiness, opening the windows and letting the wind touch your skin as you stretch slowly. The body after 60 still craves movement. Not just any kind, but movement that sees it, welcomes it. You are not broken, you are transforming. And in that transformation, movement can be the path back to autonomy, self-confidence, and the pleasure of being alive. Because in the end, movement is life. And when you move with intention, the body responds with gratitude. Every step becomes a reminder that there's still a path, still strength, still dance, even if silent, even if only you feel it. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's just waiting for you to come back to it. There's a quiet belief, often buried deep in the heart, that aging means loss of agility, memory, beauty, meaning. But that belief is incomplete, because the human body, even after 60, 70, or 80, is still a work in progress. It hasn't closed its doors to the new, it has simply changed its rhythm. And within that change lies a wisdom only maturity can offer. The ability to start again without rush, with more listening, with more soul. Science has already proven that the brain can create new connections until the end of life. That muscles still respond to stimulus. That habits still shape hormones. That emotions continue to influence immunity. But more than proof, what you may need now is permission. Permission to care for yourself with more tenderness, not to demand from your body what it can no longer give, but to honor all that it still can. Permission to see yourself with softer, more human, more grateful eyes. All healing begins with the acceptance of what hurts. And maybe the pain isn't a punishment, but a reminder, a calling to look inward with more kindness. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's just waiting for you to return, not with demands, but with presence. Today can be the first day of a new story, a story where you don't need to leap, just take one step at a time, one habit, then another, one conscious breath, a touch of light in your routine, and when that reunion happens, something awakens. Energy begins to return, confidence creeps in through small victories, and suddenly, life takes on a new flavor. Because aging, at its core, isn't about losing. It's about learning to live more deeply, and maybe, just maybe, you are more ready now than ever.